Hey everyone, Chris here from Real Rideshare Stories. If you're new to the channel and you're looking for different things within the rideshare industry, whether it's news, tips and tricks for passengers and drivers, or what actually happens on real rideshare rides, start now by hitting that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. And make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. So I have pretty interesting news coming from a senator who actually wrote a letter to all of the major gig platform companies, including Uber, Lyft, Postmates, Instacart, and some other ones out there as well. And basically he is urging these companies to take more precautions and create less of a financial burden if their own workers are treated or quarantined because of what's going on in the world today. So I'm going to talk about what the letter said as well as how the companies have responded. So I'm going to be referencing this article, and if you want to read it in its entirety, the link will be in the description below. But as you can see from the title of the headline, it says, Senator urges Uber, Lyft, Instacart, and others to offer gig workers financial security in light of the new virus concerns. So the senator is Mark Warner from Virginia, and he's encouraging these companies to go further and consider ensuring workers do not face financial consequences as a result of the virus. So in the letter that he wrote, he writes, I strongly urge that you attempt to address the potential financial hardship of the workers if they are sick or to self-quarantine during this time. In order to limit the spread of the virus, it is critical that platform companies lead by example by committing that economic uncertainty will not be deterrents to their workers following public health guidance during the response. So he wrote separate letters each to Uber, Lyft, Instacart, Postmates, Grubhub, and DoorDash. And he laid out a couple of different ideas, first entailing creation of a special health fund that would be available to gig workers if they need to take time off to get tested or self-quarantine. As we know, it takes about 2 weeks to self-quarantine, and that can be financially detrimental to a lot of people out there. So he is trying to take and make sure that there's certain precautions that are met in case something happens where drivers have to self-quarantine or go and get tested. So the other idea is to pay workers their regular average pay, even if they can't work their normal average hours. Now, unfortunately, we all know as being a driver, you are technically considered an independent contractor. So that means it doesn't come with certain benefits like sick time or paid time off or anything like that. So it's a very tough thing for a lot of drivers out there who are using this either to help finish paying their bills because their first job doesn't pay enough, or they're solely relying on this. And if they have to take up to 2 weeks off, that can put a financial burden onto a lot of people. So this senator is really urging these companies to take this seriously and do something about it so it won't create this financial hardship. So I do applaud this senator. Hopefully something does come about from it, from these companies, because unfortunately, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are going to come in contact with a lot of different people, transporting people around, shopping for them, whatever it might be. So it's definitely a concern for a lot of people. So he says, continues on saying a health emergency for which they bear no responsibility should not place a financial burden, an undue financial burden on workers and their families. So Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Postmates, and Grubhub and Instacart all had responded, at least in this article. So that's why I really like this article. And if you want to continue watching its updates, I'm sure it will be updated as more information is coming out. But so Lyft stated that the company appreciates Warner's leadership, but did not explicitly mention potential compensation. So Lyft hasn't really said anything besides that they're focused on taking appropriate actions and are actively planning for multiple scenarios, the spokesperson said. We stand ready to coordinate with government officials. In essence, that really means nothing. So unless there's some bill that's passed or something, I don't think Lyft is going to be doing anything, at least from that comment there. DoorDash said it plans to engage with Senator Warren in innovative solutions that help enhance the welfare of DoorDash's delivery workers. And their response was DoorDash's task force is actively working to develop and implement a strategy to protect the safety of the entire community. They're providing latest public health guidance to consumers, dashers, and merchants, so anywhere that may be affected. Postmates just came out with a contactless delivery option, which is like leave it at the door or something like that. So it doesn't allow people to interact with each other if they so choose. So they're going to share information and guidance with the CDC and the prevention. And it plans to also brief Senator Warren's office with its plans to invest the well-being of the flexible workforce. And they announced, again, like I said, the drop-off without contact, which is kind of a good thing, I guess, for people who are worried about that. Grubhub also said it's focused on health and safety of its drivers, customer, and restaurant partners, and they share Warner's concerns about safety and welfare of the drivers and look forward to working with the senator on these issues. So it seems like they may actually have a little bit more to do with helping their workers, at least when they're talking about some of the things that they're coming up with in strategies. And then they talk about some other companies, and then they reached out to Instacart, but haven't had any thing from them, so they have not released any other information. Now, in all of this, it seems like they're just trying to pass the buck on, and there is another article that I'm going to also link down in the description below where it says it's exploring paying its drivers who have been quarantined or diagnosed with the virus. So they're looking at exploring, which really just means that it doesn't mean much of anything unless there is something in writing on how they're going to do it. So all it says is Uber is considering paying its drivers who have been quarantined or diagnosed with the virus, although it hasn't been pinned down how they would be paid. So it just says that they're working with exploring compensation for drivers who've been quarantined or diagnosed with the virus, whether independently, through a fund, or in partnership with peer companies. So they may actually be looking at taking Warren's advice and working in a couple of solutions, or this article could just be taking what Warren said and slapping it on what Uber may actually do. So it's going to be interesting all around. All in all, though, it's good to see that Washington and some states may be pressing these companies to offer some sort of compensation for drivers, delivery people, or shoppers, the ability to take time off due to self-quarantine, due to diagnosis, or hopefully maybe they can even do it where certain drivers want to take time off so they can help protect themselves or their families from even getting it in the first place. Again, right now, there's nothing really set in concrete yet, but it's good to see that there is some pressure from Washington and states on these companies, and hopefully they will be doing something very soon. So what do you think about this? Do you think that the government should put more pressure on these companies? Do you think that these companies should set something up in order to compensate drivers or delivery people or shoppers who need to take time off in order to get tested or even self-quarantine? Comment below, let me know. Also, do you think that this should be limited only to this virus, or do you think that it should be opened up to whenever they are sick, where it could create a financial burden to them? Whether it's the flu, whether it's something else, or something unforeseen that we don't know yet. Comment below and let me know. And lastly, what do you think they should set up, or how they should set it up in order to pay out drivers for compensation, if you think they should? Again, comment below, let me know. That's the end of today's video. Hope you stay safe and especially healthy out there on the road or whatever you might be doing. And if you take some time off, that is cool too. So just make sure that you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you'll be notified every time a new video is uploaded. and also anytime I go live, so you can participate in the live chat, we can hang out and have a good time. Also, make sure to check the description below for other helpful information and tips. And as always, never drink and drive, always tip your drivers, and we'll see you next time.